we're going to go through my binder with all of my loose pages that I've taken out of coloring books and I've colored. So these are all completed pages and I'm really excited to go through these. It's been a while. So some of the coloring books I have, and I can show you which book it came from, and some of them I don't have or I don't remember because maybe I've already passed them along to someone else. So here's the first page. This one is incomplete. It's from the Inspired Room coloring book, Melissa Michaels. And I colored it with Crayola Super Tips and then went over with pencils. I don't know which pencils. And I didn't even know that that was a thing yet. It is abandoned. This is one from a Zendoodle coloring book or a Zendoodle book. This is from a Zendoodle coloring book. This was like the koala one. I used pencils, looks like, for both. This was Zendoodle, and that looks like I used pencils. Maybe Prismacolor Scholar. This one was Sharpie markers, and this was from one of these magazines. I'm not sure which one. Oops. So this was the Zendoodle book. This was from the magazine pattern book. I'm not sure which one. As was this one. Those were probably Sharpie markers. This was from a Zendoodle book. I was trying out some different techniques on this page. These are both Zendoodle. This was pastels in the background, markers for the bear. This was Sharpie. These are both from the Christmas Color by Number book, and I use Sharpie markers for both. This is from the magazine. This is Zendoodle, and I use gel pens with this one and Sharpie markers with that one. Both of these are from the Zendoodle books, and they were Sharpie markers. This is from the Zendoodle book. This is from the magazine, again. Not sure which one. Zendoodle book. This page is from this book, Color Me Love. It is one of my top favorite books. I am coloring it really slowly because that's how much I like it. This was Prismacolor Scholar, probably. This is from the Christmas Color by Number book. I actually like it. It's not just Christmas, it's winter, you know. It's got a nice little variety. It's not all just red and green. I'm not sure I would even say it's more like winter coloring than Christmas coloring. This one is from the Mindful book. Oh, this does have illustrators too. I probably didn't show that in the other video. It does have illustrators in here. Let's see if I can get illustration. And maybe that's Angelica Scudamore, Charlotte Pepper, Felicity French, Lizzie Preston, Pamlada Faraprit, Pope twins. So that was gel pen. This one was also from the Mindful Coloring book. If you saw the video when I went through this one, there was a page that I pointed out that was similar to this one that I might consider coloring. This one. But I really like how this one turned out. This is from Color Me Love. And I use Sharpie markers. Same with this one. I used Crayola pencils and Prismacolor Scholar pencils. And I was actually midway through coloring this when I got my first little set of Prismacolor Premier pencils, and I was so excited. So I used this page to try them out. So you'll see here how there's a little bit of purple that's darker. That darker bit is where I went over with the Prismacolor Premier pencils. And I think most of the flowers were, I was so excited when I got those ones to try out. And I was even more excited when I loved them. And then when I got my set of 150 last year at Christmas, I was so excited I couldn't steady my hand to actually color with them. So I think I just did like swatches. This is from same book, Color Me Love. I use Sharpie markers. So these are from Color Me Love. This one is Sharpie markers. This one is my first completed page with my little set of Prismacolor Premier pencils. I love it. It's so bright and vibrant. We're both from this magazine, but not this one. I'm not sure which one, but it was from the magazine set of books. This is Sharpie markers. This is a combination of markers and pencils, and I'm not sure which ones. Here we go. So these are from the spring magazine one. I have the cover in here somewhere. And I use Prismacolor Premier for both of them. I love this one. The Prismacolor Premiers just worked really nice on that paper. Okay. This was Sharpie markers. Sharpie markers. Then I went on a whole color family thing with the Sharpies. So this was my red, orange, yellow. And then blues. Teals. Greens and yellows. That's obviously pink. And then I thought, okay, well now let's do the complementary colors. So orange and blue. And then I was going to do red and green, but I just tweaked it a little bit to more teal and burgundy, I guess. And then that was the end of that. I tried doing a little bit of shading here with the Sharpie markers on this one. Probably from the spring book. I really like how that one turned out. This was Prismacolor Premier pencils, and it was from Color Me Love. This was from the magazine Spring, both of them. Sharpie markers. This was Prismacolor Premier pencils, Sharpie markers, Prismacolor Premier, Prismacolor Premier. This was from the magazine, but the butterfly one. Pastels in the background. I'm really happy with what I did with the pastels. I try to like softly color the little flowers that were in the background and then the leaves. And then I used the Prismacolor Premiers for the insect. This was a PDF printable that I got from Nori Art on Etsy. It was my first attempt at doing grayscale and a portrait. This was done using, I think, Prismacolor Premier pencils, and it was from one of the magazine ones. This was Prismacolor Premier pencils. This was Sharpie markers. I blacked out a lot of the extra pattern in the background. Prismacolor Premier with that one. And then we're into the Zendoodle one again here. Here was my other attempt with the Nori Art. I like how these leaves turned out. Spring magazine. And I used Prismacolor Premier pencils. The insects or butterfly one. I think I used Prismacolor Scholar for that. And then some white acrylic paint to go over the lines. From that Inspiration book. I think it's just a page that fell out. So I just shoved it in there. This is from Out of This World, Creative Haven book, Crayola Twistables. This is from Zendoodle coloring book. I used some kind of pencil. This is from one of the magazines. I used Prismacolor Premier, kind of a warm and cool color. I spent a considerable amount of time working on trying to learn bokeh backgrounds. So these are some of my doodly attempts. I did watch a couple videos by My Colorful Country Life. There was one where she showed how to do a bokeh background. It was like a big nature-y scene. Was it the balloon factory in Rooms of Wonder? Or like the birthday cake? One of those two where she did a really pretty pastel, easy bokeh background. There's the spring cover of the magazine. Dollar store pencil crayons, I think. Zendoodle coloring book. Prismacolor pencil. Zendoodle book. This is from the Entangled Starry Skies book by Angela Porter. I used a combination of pencils and water-based markers. This was Prismacolor Premiere, and it's from Zendoodle book. This was from the Spring Book magazine. I think these were from Zendoodle coloring book. That was the Zendoodle book. Same here, all Sharpie markers. From here, my one attempt. Sharpie markers. This one is from the magazine, but the butterfly one, I was just using it to practice bokeh. You see all the ones I practiced over here. And the last one, and this was from one of these two. This is where I was trying the soft color bokeh background that I had seen in My Colorful Country Life's color along. That. So that was my completed pages from my binder. This one, Whatever is Lovely. I've actually had this book for a long time. So I'm going to show you my first coloring page that I did as an adult colorist. So it's just straight block coloring, and I believe I used just Crayola pencils. And then I colored this one probably 3-4 years ago, and I used Prismacolor Scholar pencils. So I did the 2 pages I showed you. I love this book. It was my first like adult coloring book. It was gifted to me by my sister, and I really wanted to find a way to show some love to it and complete more pages. Experimentation book, different mediums and techniques, and very like low pressure coloring. So this was done with alcohol markers from the dollar store. Bleed through. This was done with alcohol markers from the dollar store. I tried to do a bit of a blend here, and I'm pretty pleased with what I was able to achieve. This was done with alcohol markers from the dollar store. I really just wanted to do these wings in a rainbow. And then the rest of it I just colored as quickly as I could. I started this flower and then didn't finish it. So this was alcohol markers, just something super quick. There's that one, the first one I did. Alcohol markers. So then we have a big experimentation page. So this was Craft Metallic Silver Paint. This was, I think, a acrylic paint pen from the dollar store. I think these were 2. This looks like I was trying out the Folk Art black matte paint that I got and the extreme glitter that I got. I don't know what this is. That almost looks like regular acrylic paint. Maybe that's what this is too. Yeah, maybe that's regular acrylic paint. Anyways, a whole load of things on this page. This was alcohol markers. So this was done with water-soluble wax crayons by Artist Loft that I got from Michael's. And this is me just experimenting. And it didn't wrinkle the page too much, and I put a lot of water on it. So that might be a medium that I try more in here. This was dollar store alcohol markers. This pink and yellow really changed color from when I did it. And that was just a couple months ago. That was just August. This was the water-soluble wax crayons from Artist Loft that I activated with water and then colored for the sun and the water. And then I colored over the top with Prismacolor Premier pencils. Just block coloring, not really any shading. And I really liked that method in this book with this paper. This background here was just the activated crayon, but I did it really poorly. I think I had done the background and then I had come back to do the other part on a different day after I had practiced some more. This is another practice page I did with the water-soluble wax crayons. So I haven't activated all of them yet. Oh, there was some alcohol marker under there. This one I think is. But just trying things out. There's the page that I completed with the Prismacolor Scholars. Dollar store alcohol markers. I liked it. They're fun to use, but they don't weather very well. I wouldn't want to use them on something that I'd want to look really good a ways from now. So this was done with the water-soluble wax crayons by Artist Loft with Prismacolor Premier pencils over top. So I put the crayon down, I activated it with water, I let it dry, and then I put the pencils on top. And I have one more that I did like that. So the peacock is done with the water-soluble wax crayons and then put Prismacolor Premier pencils on top. I think I should have tried a little bit more of a gradient here because this should have been blue, teal, green, but I think I should have done with the darker blue. I don't know what I did with these flowers. So then all of this purple was a quick dry paint stick that I got from Dollarama. So that's all I have completed in this one. So again, kind of like my experimentation book. Next, we have this one. Dimensions, Francois Gauthier, 3D inspired coloring book. I got it from Clearance Bin at Shoppers Drug Mart in Canada. And it's kind of a neat book. It's got black line art, but then some really nice shading on it. So you could just take alcohol markers, color it, and it's going to look shaded for you. It's got the work done. Okay, so let's have a look at what I've done. Yes, that is the Canadian price. So on this one, I used Folk Art black matte paint in the background, and that's really what I wanted to try using on this page. The paper is really nice and thick. This is just the dollar store alcohol markers on top, just so that I could say the page is finished. But this is what I wanted to try. And that paint is amazing. This is only one coat, and I got that dark of a finish. This was another Folk Art matte color, so it's like dark blue, but I put it on thin, and then I tried to put the extreme glitter glaze on top. Again, just trying something out. I think this was me trying watercolor paints or the water-soluble wax crayons activated with water, and then I put the extreme glitter stuff on top. Okay, so this is next one. This was done with Sharpie markers. Same with this one. That's Sharpie markers. And this one, Sharpie markers. And this one, Sharpie markers. This one is the quick dry paint sticks from Dollarama. And I'm obsessed with how this feels. Connie from Coloring Chemist also in Canada, yay! Has done a couple videos on tempera quick dry paint sticks, which I guess is probably the same thing this is. And she is so right. Oh my gosh, it just feels so smooth. Now that purple one that I did in the Whatever is Lovely book, the peacock with the purple background, that was the same thing as these, but the paper didn't take it so well, which confirmed that the paper in the Whatever is Lovely book is not as lovely as this paper for the paint sticks, because this just took it just beautifully and created a really nice finish. And actually, the picture doesn't look that bad. If you had a picture in a coloring book that you didn't want to color, but you wanted to have the book completed, you could put the paint stick on it like this, and then at least, it still has some color on it. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, there's tons of different things on here. We have some alcohol markers, some watercolor markers, some water-based markers, super tip, Crayola super tips. We have some water-based markers put on with a paintbrush, like put on a palette. I think that was this one. Maybe it was this one. This is super tips colored on and then smeared over with water. This was maybe Creatology gel crayons. This was the quick dry paint stick, Sharpie, then Prismacolor. Just lots of different things. This was just a very quick color with Sharpie markers. I did watercolor paint for the objects. I used Creatology gel crayons in the background, and I used water to try to get them to blend a little bit and get into the little crevices. And then I put metallic watercolor paint over top of half of it. Here's another one, Sharpie markers. Sharpie markers. Sharpie markers. This is the blue and gold with Sharpie markers, and then I put metallic watercolor on top of this one, and the bricks, and there was something underneath of this one, and then I put metallic watercolor on top. I like this little grouping of bricks that I did. Just experimenting. And lastly, I have this one, and I used Sharpie markers, and this was the first one I did in this book. So, that is Dimensions, Francois Gauthier.